Peter, in Westbury, New York, what are your thoughts on Impact not booking Killer Kross and not letting him out of his contract? He could be a big star anywhere in the world, but they have him on ice right now. Who is in the right here? Is it Kross or is it Impact? He could be a big star anywhere in the world, absolutely, but he signed a contract with Impact. There is an interesting thing I saw. I'm going to just give me a second here because he posted a tweet. Killer Kross did. He said, "To new beginnings." And he posted two little champagne glasses clinking together. "May they begin with discovery, manifest upon enlightenment, and may they take place by introduction of fire and lead to rebirth. Amen." I don't know if he knows something that we don't know, if maybe he was granted his release after all. But as I am recording this, that has not been reported. That has not been confirmed. Maybe I'm just reading into the tweet more than I should be. So if you are listening to this and there has been a development in this story, it is because it just happened. But as of this moment, as far as anybody knows, he is still under contract to Impact and has not been granted his release. That was a choice that he made, signing with Impact. I don't know why he would have signed such a long deal, a multi-year deal with Impact, but that was his choice. And I can understand Impact's position on this just because he thinks he can make more money somewhere else because all these other options exist for him now that did not exist when he first signed. If you're Impact, do you just say, well, gee golly, you're right. Here's your release. Go make money for Vince McMahon. Go make money for Tony Khan. But if they're not going to let him go, then they should use him. They've intentionally not booked him now for 2 straight sets of television tapings, I believe. Supposedly, they told AAA not to book him on their Madison Square Garden show next Sunday. Well, technically, it's the theater at Madison Square Garden. But AAA is going to be in New York. And they have told them not to book him on the card because possibly he was going to be on the card as part of a 6-man opposing Cain Velasquez on the other side. And the card just came out for the AAA show, and in fact, Killer Kross is not booked on the card. So AAA had to use Impact's license in order to be able to run the show in the first place, so Impact got to call the shots on that one, and it looks like they got him to be nixed from the card next weekend. It's stuff like that that just is complete and total bullshit as far as I'm concerned. They've got this guy on the back burner right now. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com, his understanding is that Kross's deal runs through December of this year. But Impact has the option to then roll it over for another year. So that is potentially 16 more months. They could conceivably hold on to this guy if they either have plans for him or they just want to fuck with him and make his life hell. My attitude is very simple. Use the guy or cut him loose. Don't bench him and kill his career out of spite. You know, if Kross thinks that he has been wronged in some way, if they've withheld money from him or something that he thinks he could sue for, because apparently Impact is worried that he's getting ready to file a lawsuit against them. If he feels he's got a good reason to sue, then I hope he does, and I hope he gets his release. But if it's just a case of him having buyer's remorse on the contract that he signed, look, I feel bad for the guy. He seems like a really good dude. He's super talented. He'd make a big star in WWE or a big star in AEW. But nobody forced him to sign the contract. And to sign a long deal like that with Impact, unless the money is just so great, and obviously in this case it isn't, I don't understand why he would do that. You know, Meltzer says that he's on a per appearance deal. But they offered him a guaranteed contract for $40,000 a year with the idea that he only has to work a few dates a month for that $40,000. And he's got the freedom to book his own indie shots to supplement his income. And it's possible those numbers are higher now. Maybe they came back to him with a higher offer, but that's according to the Observer. I mean, $40,000 a year is low. That's lower than what an NXT talent supposedly makes. I think a lot of the lower level NXT talents pull in 50 or 60 grand. So that's even lower than that. Let alone, you know, he's a guy that has a name. He's not a big name, not yet. He will be, but he's got a name. So yes, that is low. it's just a tough spot for him to be in. I mean, it's like I said, if he thinks he can prove that he's being wronged in some way legally and he can get out of his contract, then I hope he does. But if not, and the two sides can't come to some kind of agreement between now and the end of the year, they could very well roll that deal over, and all of a sudden 2020 is going to be a lost year for Killer Kross. So they need to work this shit out, because this guy is too good to be wasted like that. And if Impact is going to keep him, then book him on some shows and don't tell another promotion not to book him, because now you're taking money out of the guy's pocket, and that's a low rent move on Impact's part.